Cage Fit students, instructors, fellow instructors, welcome. I'm glad you're watching this video. Hopefully you've liked the previous ones that have led up to this, but I want to continue the conversation, kind of finalize the conversation about teaching focus as far as focusing their eyes. The final part of most of my classes, we've talked about so far warm-ups and leg stretches, crescent kicks, things like that, target drills, teaching it in forms. The final one that kind of could come through in a regular lesson that we teach at Ninja Fit would be sparring. And sparring kind of just seems like a no-brainer, right? I mean, as far as teaching to focus your eyes, never take your eyes off your opponent. You got somebody moving around you, towards you, away from you, around you, trying to circle you, whatever it is, and they can throw moves at you. So that's someone that's looking to do you harm is what you're practicing to think about in your mind. Hopefully in classes, in your normal classes, your students feel safe enough, like they're not really, their opponent's not really out to hurt them, right? But it can be real scary even for brand new students and all that are bumping up to the levels where they can start sparring. So you need to build that feeling of safety with them and teach them how to be comfortable and competent in that setting. And so for me, the biggest part is teaching them to learn how to keep their eyes focused on someone. Even from the beginner lessons, a lot of times, even in my white belts who won't be sparring necessarily, I'll give them certain drills where they just got to learn to keep their hands up while someone's coming at them with a noodle or with some gloves on or something, trying to really easily punch toward their face, and to teach them how to just keep those hands up and keep focused on that and keep their eyes on their target. Too many people, maybe you've seen it too if you've been around martial arts long enough, too many of us have this habit of when things start coming at us, we might get our hands up and that's a great start, but then we start blinking every time our hands get hit, or every time something's hitting our arms and our body and all that stuff, we blink, and that's us taking our eyes off our opponent. We can't see what's coming until we get those eyes open and refocused on, okay, what's going on now? So the part that I try to get them used to at the beginning levels even is learn how to stand there and protect yourself, and learn from the very beginning stages to be comfortable with that. It's almost like an innate thing that's just born in all of us here, just to blink and close your eyes and try to get away from that up here in your head, to get away from that, even though it's still happening to you out here. So in order for us to change that habit and kind of build our confidence, we'll work on that in class, right? Anyways, that kind of goes back to keeping your eyes focused on your opponent the entire time while you're sparring. You got to be able to do that, to be able to move with them. We do moving drills too, where my partner moves toward me, I got to move away. Or I'll do things where I'm trying to round step away off their path, right? If I move toward them, I want them practicing moving away. Sometimes you practice jamming each other up, right? He's coming toward me, and I'm going to scooch in on purpose to try to jam him up. But I won't see that, and I won't have that playing in my head unless I've got my eyes on my partner. It doesn't help me to be fighting this person here and be staring off over here at these two black belts that are doing amazing jump spin kicks and all that, because this guy right here that's supposed to be sparring me could kick me right in the head, and that's not fun, right? So you got to be focused on who your immediate target is at that point in time. All right, the other part of that I like to use is a strategy thinking, right? Teach them a little bit about strategy. So the good thing about keeping your eyes on that opponent right there is that it helps you see and realize when he leaves an opening, so that you can capitalize on that. You can pick up your foot, or you can punch, you can do something, you can counterattack when they've got that opening there, and score your points if that's what it is, or get that bad guy away from you if that's your goal, to stop him or something. Maybe he's really good at guarding and he doesn't just do this, but he's got this really closed guard and it's just hard to find an opening, because he is real good with quick and with that elbow dropping down there if that's what you're trying to get him on. He's good with leaning back or bobbing and weaving, doing all that stuff to get around it, just barely missing you. Okay, well then in that stage, for those maybe intermediate sparrers and above, the strategic thinking becomes then, I need to learn to create my opening, right? Create an opening for myself. I see that he's really good about guarding and blocking, so I need to start finding ways around that, or to trick him into leaving an opening for me. So that's where multiple kicks, multiple techniques, and the combinations and all that start coming into play. With all that being said, okay, that's how we can teach focusing their eyes and using their eyes to help them focus when sparring. How can those lessons correlate to real life? How can you take that and help your students learn that, and what that means for them in real life? Now, if you've got a lot of students, like even myself when I first started martial arts, a big part of the reason why was to get feel comfortable with self-defense, okay, in case there was someone trying to hurt me. So in a self-defense setting, again, just kind of like what forms were or whatever, sparring and learning to focus my eyes on my opponent, learn how to find those targets and hit them when it, score my point, be fast enough to get in there and get out, or learn how to create my openings. That all kind of helps. I mean, that easily rolls into, I can see how that affects me when I got to get out in the real world and defend myself against somebody. That's not a hard correlation to make, but it can also happen in a bunch of different ways. Okay, some things pop into my head when I say the phrase "create an opening for yourself." In the business world, that's a huge thing. You'll hear that a lot of times. I mean, you want a promotion, but there's not one available, or you're just not the right candidate at this point in time. When you got to kind of start setting yourself up. Okay, what's the ultimate job promotion I want? What's my job title that I want? Okay, if I'm not the best qualified candidate for that at this point in time, how can I set myself up to be that? Do I need more education? Do I need more training? Do I need to learn these lessons? Blah, 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 blah. And then when I've got that, my resume all of a sudden looks great. My portfolio looks like I am the guy for that spot because I've built it up I've built myself up, and I've built my education and experience and training and all that stuff to be that guy. Sometimes it's in the sales world. I've heard this phrase in the sales, you got to kind of find, or you got to create a niche for yourself in order to get a good customer base and get people that want that product. So a lot of people that are coming up with products nowadays, if you watch that TV show Shark Tank, that's a big deal that they're trying to do. They're trying to find a niche, or they're trying to create a niche or an opening for themselves, so that way they can capitalize on that and create a booming business, right? So those are kind of the things that pop into my head. I'd have to find a different way to approach that for my younger students that might not understand that yet, but find all sorts of ways to do that with them in their daily life. Try to think about what they go through at school, if they do other sports or something like that, how that can help them understand, how you can kind of relate that to them. But that's how I use focusing their eyes in the sparring portion of class, and then I try to find a way to relate it to them in their daily life, right? Don't take your eyes off that person right there. Don't forget to look for the openings, and look for, kids that are in school, that are in debate class. Look for an opening and a weakness in that person in your opponent's conversation, and that's what you go after right there, right? To win that debate, you got to know sometimes you got to pre-plan ahead. You got to know what their arguments would be. You got to find the weaknesses in that, and you got to be able to do your homework and research enough to be able to come back with a better statement or a better qualifier or something to help you win that conversation, that debate. So that's another way you might look at it, I guess. But focusing their eyes, especially during the sparring part, easy to see how that correlates to self-defense, but try to find a way to help them understand how that can correlate to other aspects of their daily life. Okay, so if you've got comments, just like all the other videos, please put them down below. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube page, the Ninja Fit YouTube page, please do. If you've seen my Facebook page, I hope you've liked it, and maybe left comments on there or messages to me so I can have more ideas going forward in other videos. But I appreciate it, and I hope this helps you.